Hi, I'm Joy.
Hi, I'm Lorraine.
And this is Girlish Gurus. And Lorraine, why are we here?
We're here to talk about mid-lifestyle topics for women who are 45 and older to help you live your best, healthiest, and most fulfilled life. We're also going to have lots of fun along the way.
Be sure to stick around until the end for fun announcements and goodies you won't want to miss.
So let's get started.
Welcome back to another episode of Girlish Gurus. I'm Joy.
And I'm Lorraine.
Ooh, Lorraine, what are we talking about today?
It might sound morbid, but it's not. We are talking about the gentle art of Swedish death cleaning. And I became obsessed with this because, well, for several reasons. 8 years ago, I wrote an article specifically about this, about cleaning out as empty nesters, cleaning everything out of my attic, all my 3 adult kids' stuff, which I'm going to read a little bit about that because I know it will resonate with a lot of people out there. But now my husband and I are getting ready to build a new home.
I know they're going to move.
Not too far away, and you're welcome to come anytime you want. And there's still so much stuff in my attic and so many things that I want to get rid of. My kids don't want it. I have emotional attachment to it, and that is specifically what Swedish death cleaning is about. So I just want to read a little bit about the woman who wrote the book, why she wrote it, what it really means, and how it really is not a morbid idea.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So in The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning, author Margareta Magnusson emphasizes that death cleaning isn't really about death at all. It's about how we choose to live. The idea is that when we intentionally sort through our possessions and let go of what no longer matters, we create more space, clarity, and freedom in our lives right now. Instead of being weighed down by decades of accumulated stuff, we surround ourselves only with things that are meaningful, useful, or bring us joy. Magnusson suggests that this process encourages people to reflect on their lives and memories as they handle old photographs, letters, and belongings, share meaningful items with loved ones while they're still alive, so they can enjoy seeing the items appreciated, live more lightly with fewer possessions to manage and worry about, focus on experiences and relationships rather than material accumulation. So death cleaning is not about prepping for death. It's about creating a better life today. It's about living more intentionally. The process helps you simplify your life, reflect on meaningful memories, share special items with loved ones while you're still here, and create a lighter, more organized home.
So I can appreciate where this is coming from, and I can appreciate that very calm intro into the topic. But for me, this is a very, very personal episode because my father just passed away. And several years ago, my sister cleaned out his property when he had an ongoing situation, which we've talked about on the podcast before and we've talked about at length. And now that he is finally gone, I am going to have to figure out how to dispose of his property and everything that's in it. And so for me, well, I hope that my perspective as the person who's left behind having to deal with this is one that can benefit people who are contemplating their mountains of stuff.
Yeah, and that's specifically the point of Swedish death cleaning, so that your loved ones are not left with all the shit you left behind.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
And my sister, everything that she went through cleaning the property out before, she did an enormous amount of work, and there's still more to do. And it's just something that is weighing heavily on me.
Yeah.
Frankly, to be honest. You know?
Yeah.
So, if you can help me with that, Lorraine,
Yes.
now's your chance.
Well, one thing I have been watching, there's actually the Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning series on Peacock. I'm not sure where it first aired, but it's on Peacock right now. So I've been watching that. I think it might have aired in 2023, 24. Fabulous. If you're listening, you should definitely watch it. It's humorous. Amy Poehler actually narrates it, and she's hysterical. But the 3 Swedes that come over to actually help people. I think most of it takes place around Kansas City. So I guess they spent a summer there helping these people. I'm not sure exactly how many episodes there are. I'm on episode 5 now. Tears, get your tissues too, because it's emotional, because holding on to all that stuff, there's a psychological part of it. And actually one of the there's 3 of them that come. One's an organizer, one's a decorator, and one is a psychologist.
Ooh.
And she gets to the root of why people are hanging on to why they have this emotional attachment to this stuff. And there are so many aha moments that they're incredible. I mean, I've had the aha moments like watching it. So it's so worth watching. I wanted to read, so I wrote this article years ago because, so my kids are millennials, and I was shocked to learn that they don't want my stuff, right?
The stuff that you were keeping for them.
Yes.
Right?
And honestly, as a baby boomer, I think, being raised by like the greatest generation, they lived through the Depression and they hung on to everything from
World War II.
string balls to rubber band balls. They saved everything. Pieces of tin foil. I mean, I remember
my mother-in-law has a giant rubber band ball in one of her drawers right now.
Yeah. It's like you just never know when you're going to need something, right? But I think we were raised with that mentality that you just pass down heirlooms, you pass down the things. And actually, I like that idea because it is, instead of being wasteful, it's being reused, recycled, upcycled, which even with death cleaning, it might not be your own family that might want that item, but there is someone out in the world who would want that item. They go into that a lot in the show, too.
Well, it's sustainability.
Yeah.
And that's a very big deal in today's world as well. And it's one of those things that, it's great to be sustainable, and it's great to really try to prepare for a time when you might need A, B, or C. But things are a little bit different now, and we don't need to keep all of the stuff that's eventually just going to end up in a landfill because whoever is coming behind you is not going to have space for it, or they don't want it, or whatever. So there's a balanced approach here that you can take. And also, if you're on Instagram and you're looking around, there's all kinds of people on Instagram talking about these hoards that they're inheriting after their parents or their older loved ones die.
And they're filled with guilt because they don't want the stuff, but they actually have this horrible guilt about getting rid of their parents' stuff, or that their parents might be upset with them, or that they may forget their parents. It's like memories, but it's more about your memories are in your heart, and
That's true.
And it simply is just stuff. In the show particularly, they talk about having like a small box of things that are precious to you that you can just put on a shelf and go back and look at once in a while if they bring you those wonderful feelings. But like limit it to like a tiny little box of like those memories. And gift away the things, like even if it's jewelry or paintings or whatever. There may be members in your family that want specific little things, and to give it to them while you're still alive, to see, like they said in that little article, so that you can appreciate them appreciating it.
Right.
So I'm just going to read the first part of an article that I wrote. And it was titled, Saving My Sanity by Letting Go of Stuff. The tears began on the second day. It was after I'd already cleaned out the unwanted junk that had found its way into the far corners of my full to the gills, packed like sardines up to the rafters, saturated attic. I had started sorting through those random broken picture frames, prehistoric lamps, unused diet books, a Furby. Remember those scary creatures that randomly began talking in the middle of the night? Puzzles and board games with missing pieces. Did I really move 4 times with this crap? That I had saved and one time must have thought, one day I'll use this, or one day someone will want this. Really? As a baby boomer, I realized that I had been conditioned by my own parents to save stuff, who in effect were conditioned by their parents, otherwise known as the greatest generation. They had raised their families during the Great Depression and out of necessity had saved everything, like I said, from string and rubber band balls to safety pins, buttons, and used coffee cans. You never know when you'll need this. Don't throw it away. The original sustainability generation. Kudos to them in oh so many ways, from recycled glass bottles, cloth shopping bags, and home gardens to borrowing instead of buying and fixing instead of replacing. For years, I had let these heaps of stored items sit and gather dust in multiple attics as mounds of anxiety and guilt piled high on my shoulders and wreaked havoc on my mental well-being. I truly didn't want all of these unnecessary possessions, yet the guilt of disposing of them and the anxiety this caused left me with a constant monkey on my back. I realized that rather than me owning them, they owned me. Evidently, there is an undeniable psychology to how our possessions have a hold over us. This is known as the endowment effect, where you value things more simply because you own them. This is true even if there are issues with them. Keeping something and holding on to it makes it seem more special. Then there is what is known as the loss aversion. We simply do not want to lose our stuff, so this makes it quite hard to part ways with our things. Yet, when I was finally able to dispose of those dust and space collectors and have them out of my attic and into the trash can, they weren't even worth donating, it was extremely cleansing. At the end of that first full day in my attic, I felt really good. I felt lighter. I was smiling. Then came the crash. Once I disposed of the items I really had no emotional attachment to, the reality of what was about to happen set in. Preparation was necessary. This extended not only to the task of organizing, but also to my mindset. I was prepared to feel guilt, loss, sadness, and angst. I'm the one in my family who desired and inherited all of the old family photographs, household items that my grandparents had owned, books that they had held and read, things that would remind me of them. Objects that I felt I couldn't let go of, thinking that somehow if I did, I'd lose a connection to these people I had loved so much. Now add in the memorabilia I had saved from my own 3 children, and my emotional barometer was registering off the charts. I saved everything. It was time to let it all go, to let most of it go, to let some of it go. There was turmoil brewing between my heart and my brain. Sentiment was raging a battle with practicality. Which would win? So I began day 2. What led me to finally delve into this project that I had put off for many years, besides reading Marie Kondo's awesome book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, which I'm sure most everybody out there has heard, right? The Japanese art of decluttering and organizing. My 3 kids, now adults in their 30s with families of their own, had recently told me that they really didn't want any of the mementos and memorabilia, what I considered treasures, I had carefully stored away for them in those Lillian Vernon drawers that were so popular in the 1980s. You know, those cardboard stacked containers that tend to bulge and bend when overloaded with kitty masterpieces. They held a single drawer for each of the years from kindergarten through 12th grade to hold all of those creative works of art, from finger paintings, clay creations, and turkey hands to composition masterpieces and report cards. I had 2 of those towers for each of my 3 kids. I had found myself going through quite a few handfuls of tissues while spending the next 3 full days hunched over those many receptacles bulging with nostalgia, which have lived in not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 of my attics. As Marie teaches, I held each individual item in my hands to see if it brought me joy. These treasures have probably cost me hundreds, if not a couple of $1,000s in moving fees and storage. A Caribbean vacation would have been had. That would have brought me joy. I had started creating scrapbooks for my kids, beginning with my oldest son. I had gotten to 3rd grade and gave them to him for Christmas 7 years later. They were adorable and elaborate, and I had spent a fortune on stickers, plastic sleeves, and paper inserts. I spent hours sitting cramped on the living room floor, cutting and gluing and oohing and eyeing and crying and cramping. I was emotional. I was proud. And I was tired, extremely tired and spent. I had hoped to have his entire school career done before I handed over those beautiful books, but life, a move, some family health issues, a new career, a published book, all kind of got in the way. I decided to go ahead and deliver the first scrapbooks, grades preschool to 3rd grade, to him and worry about the rest later. So as I happily presented to him that Christmas morning, my 2 daughters looked on and then basically told me, rather apologetically, that it wasn't necessary for me to create those keepsakes for them.
Don't give me those books, Mom.
I said, huh? At first, I was hurt and disappointed. My thoughts ran to, I carefully saved all of these treasures for over 20 years, moved 4 times with them, and no one wants them. And then, after it settled in for a bit, I was surprised to find that I was feeling a bit relieved. Honestly, I was feeling a lot relieved. I wouldn't have to spend hours hunched over a paper cutter with sticky fingers and twisted legs. Then I rejoiced. Those darn scrapbooks take a lot of time, and not for nothing, a lot of tears. I had just gained hours of my life back, and my eye makeup would remain intact. Kleenex be gone. My 2 girls suggested that together we pull out all of their memorabilia and go through it together. They would save the few items that they wanted to keep and dispose of everything else. Awesome! 2 fabulous things came from this suggestion. First, we spent a few hours laughing and enjoying going down memory lane together as we pulled out drawings, pictures, dance trophies, photographs, diaries, compositions, and greeting cards. It really was so much fun. Secondly, I felt absolutely no guilt, as I was not responsible for picking and choosing what was kept and what was disposed of. Can I tell you, this was extremely freeing. So there's a lot more to it. That was long enough, but you get the point.
That was like you reciting the night before Christmas. Well, honestly, though, I think that is probably the best way to jump into the topic. You are right in that you move so many times, and I'm guilty of this myself. Actually, if you go down into the garage right now, because we are recording in our studio at my house, if you go down into the garage, there is a shelf above the garage door, and it is full of boxes of old files. Now, I had a lot of boxes of paperwork from basically starting in undergraduate school all the way through law school that contained notes and papers and et cetera, et cetera. Some years back, when I moved all that stuff from Ohio to North Carolina, I decided I can't keep moving this stuff. I moved it a couple of times, and I thought, I just can't do it. And so I spent a couple of nights in my office with a scanner, and I broke those boxes down, and I looked through everything that was in it, and each box, and I scanned what I wanted to keep, and the rest of it I took and had it shredded.
Yeah.
And that was like, I can't tell you how much weight lifted off my shoulders, no longer having to worry about moving that stuff around.
Yeah. Just imagine there are so many people out there paying for storage units packed to the gills with stuff that they will probably never look at again. And what do those units cost? Anywhere from $100 to $200 to more, depending on the size of them, a month. Mm-hmm. Imagine the experiences you could have
with that money,
vacations or experiences, time shared with loved ones.
Mm-hmm. Well, you and I have talked about this process for you, and we have agreed because I have that shelf. I actually did have a storage unit for a while. And again, as a practicing attorney, you've got to keep all your files for a period of time, and et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm getting to the point where I'm ready to start shredding those files as well as what I have on the shelf above the garage door. Mm-hmm. And then, Lorraine, you and I are going somewhere and doing something.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because that is going to be like, I no longer have to worry about any of that stuff.
I know. So getting prepared for this episode, right, I've been watching that show. I've been reading the book. I also read a book called Nobody Wants Your Shit. And,
it's true.
Yeah. And so it has inspired me, and I'm feeling less attachment to all these things, that emotional attachment. It's like, why am I saving this? Mm-hmm. What am I doing? And I'm just forcing myself. And it feels so good. Once you actually get rid of something, it feels so good. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there are a lot of things that are going in the trash that nobody would want, but I'm donating things. I'm asking the kids if they want other things, especially I know the girls will probably want some of my jewelry that I'm probably not wearing and stuff like that. But it is so freeing. One of the episodes, this woman had a house full of stuff that her mom had given her, and she had that emotional attachment. She was just so afraid to give it away. And her 7-year-old daughter came in, 7 years old, came in, and the 3 Swedes that were helping them said to her, "So what do you think?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm so relieved. I was so afraid that I was going to have to take all of this stuff."
7 years old.
7 years old. She said, "I was so afraid my mom was going to give me all of this stuff, and it was like a weight on me." 7 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And her mom looked at her, she had like tears in her eyes. She goes, I'm sorry, I never knew you felt this way. But imagine that, even at that young age, worried that she was going to have to hold all this stuff and then have the guilt of having to keep it because her mom wanted her to.
Well, you know, those two guys that started that, I don't know if it's a podcast. I've watched their videos. They're the minimalists. Mm-hmm. They got started because one of them, his mother, passed away, and he inherited all of her stuff. And he was like, at first, I've got to move it. I've got to put it in storage. I've got to take care of it. I've got to whatever. And that's how eventually, working through all of that, he became one of the minimalists. And he goes out and he talks to people about what it means to hoard all that stuff, to keep it, and how to transition out of that mentality and lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, there's that whole psychological aspect of it. By actually doing this, by actually doing the death cleaning, and the death cleaning doesn't mean you're going to die.
No.
It's basically, it's so you can live. You can really enjoy your life and live, and other people aren't going to have to deal with your stuff, right? But it's actually an act of love to go through your stuff and get rid of it so that your loved ones don't have to do that and don't have the burden of doing that once you're gone.
So this is, again, particularly poignant for me since in the last 2 years, we have lost, my husband and I, both of our fathers. Mm-hmm. And there's been other older folks who are in our orbit who have also passed away. But for us, our dads, losing our dads, and already having to deal with the difficulty of that. Not just the financial and the paperwork aspect of it, because, you know, you've got, even though most of them didn't have big estates, or we've already handled that in some way, shape, or form, still, you've got that emotional burden that you've got to manage. And then there is some paperwork still, like you've got to call the insurance companies, and you've got to call this person and that person. You got to deal with the bank accounts and all that stuff. And that is a huge task in and of itself.
Yeah.
So on top of that, then you've got to worry about their stuff. I just couldn't do it. I mean, I don't even know how. I wonder how I'm going to get through this next task of disposing of Dad's items and then his property. So, yeah. By the way, if anyone out there would like to buy an ancient mobile home, please let me know. I got one for sale for cheap. So, yeah, this is a huge act of love.
Yeah. So, and I'm fortunate to have both of my parents still. They're almost 94 and 87. And just recently, I said to my mom, why don't you go? She has a big china cabinet full of like knickknacks and things. And I said, Mom, why don't you start going through that now? I know that there are certain things you had put tags on for grandchildren and whatever. Why don't you start going through that now and giving it to them now? So you relieve yourself of it, because she also feels overwhelmed with a lot of, that she has so many things in her house that she's worried about. I said, this will relieve you of that pressure, and you'll be able to give it to them. Actually, you personally hand it to them as a gift to them. So I'm hoping that she takes my advice and that she does it. I know she feels a little overwhelmed, so my sisters and I are going to go help her. I said, spring's coming. We can do big spring cleaning in the house, and you can start gifting those things to people now.
My goal is to only keep things that I really, really love, that, like Marie Kondo says, that bring me joy. And, you know, you can never have too much joy.
That's right.
But I only want to keep things that I really love. And so I myself, having gone through all of this in the last couple of years, I'm also, that's why things look quite disheveled. But I'm also, in a methodical but slow kind of way, going through things and getting rid of stuff that I thought I would keep forever.
Yeah.
And I'm just not. And even things that are valuable, people still don't want it.
I know.
You'd be surprised.
I know.
It's
true.
It really is surprising to me, because china can be valuable and jewelry can be valuable. Mm-hmm. And still, people just, they don't want it.
If they don't want it, like especially when it comes to jewelry, you can sell your jewelry and then use that money for an experience. Mm-hmm. You know, Like one of the things I love to do is to do things with the grandchildren. Like we take them to Disney or things like that, my husband and I, while we're still able to. And I'm hoping that will be for a very long time. But then take those things. Possibly you can sell some valuable things that nobody wants and have those experiences. Because I can honestly tell you, the kids are not going to remember what you gave them physically. They're going to remember what you did with them and those experiences that you had with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew this would be quite an emotional and personal episode, and here we go, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Lorraine, don't forget, it's time for us to schedule our Lifeline screening appointments. They're 5 simple tests to help us keep on top of our heart and bone health, which is important for women over 45.
Yes, Lifeline Screening has been the premier provider of preventative health screening for over 30 years. In that time, over 10 million people have had screenings to detect their risk of stroke, cardiovascular disease, and other chronic illnesses. Lifeline Screening can provide meaningful benefits for your body and mind, and that's why they're committed to delivering accurate results and recommendations that could give you a healthier advantage in your everyday life, such as early detection of serious conditions, prevention of disease progression, peace of mind so you can enjoy life, savings with more affordable screenings, and no insurance required.
Yep, and don't forget, by using the link in the show notes of this episode, you get a special offer available to Girlish Gurus listeners, so make sure and schedule your appointment.
Get peace of mind now. Here's to your good health. So one of the things that we talked about is why death cleaning is really about living. So it has to be reframed as empowering, right, rather than sad. One interesting thing that the Swedes talked about on the show was the fact that in Sweden, they have no problem talking about death. We know we're all going to die, and Americans have a hard time talking about death. A lot of times it's like, I don't want to, and I've done it to my own parents when they bring up, well, when I die, and I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. It really is an important conversation. And it doesn't have to be sad, because it relieves the person that's trying to share the information with you, right? Instead of avoiding, like, this is what I want from you. I want you to help me do this. I want you to help me get rid of this now so that you don't have to deal with it later.
Oh, that would have solved so many problems for us. Yeah.
So Swedish Death Cleaning is really about living more intentionally. It's reducing physical and mental clutter, creating space for the life you want now. So getting rid of all that stuff, that the monkey on your back, so that you can live with intention now and enjoy your life now. Clutter can hold emotional weight, right? We talked about that. I mean, you have the guilt that possibly your parents said, I want you to have this when I die, or I want you to keep this, and you didn't want it.
Well, but that's their expectation. Like,
Right.
it was your expectation that your children were going to value those things as much as you did. Now, I will say this. It's probably not your children who are going to value those things. It's more than likely going to be their children.
Yeah.
So all of these things right now don't matter so much to me because I was there, I experienced them.
Yeah.
But those people who come after this generation, they weren't there to experience them. They lose that connection because they don't have access to that stuff.
One thing that I loved, and I'm so glad you brought that up. One thing that I loved on the show, they were going through the woman's basement and she had knickknacks, all kinds of stuff, but she had this little box full of doilies and different things that her great-grandmother had made. Beautiful, beautiful things. She said, I can't part with these. And they said, oh, no. Those are the kind of things you don't want to part. But what you can do is create a treasure box for each of your daughters. And actually what they did was they made these special boxes with their names on it, had them put the different items in each one, and made a card with the history. These were made by your great-grandmother, and this is a story about her. Did you know that she did this, this, and this? And the little history of the great-grandmother. And it was just a little something that they could just keep. One little thing that they could keep for memories that were precious. That type of thing. Because she made those with her own hands.
You can't buy that.
No.
You can't. That's truly something of value.
So obviously there are things that you will want to
Right.
keep, and that's a great way to honor that person and then share that history with your children.
Yes.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to make me wear the ugliest skirts, and she would hand make them a lot of times, and sometimes they wouldn't be the right length, and so they'd be a little too short, and she'd say, "That's okay, we're going to fix it. I'll just sew a ruffle on it." And they were just a nightmare to look at, a nightmare to wear. But I got to tell you, I really wish I had them now. Yeah. So little things like that, you can't replace that connection.
Right.
The closest thing you can get there are photos.
Yeah.
And to me, like a family photo or a photo, that's...
Right. And nowadays you can scan all your photos. Like, I have boxes of photos, but we can scan them all and then you can get rid of them, right? They're in the cloud or they're on a little stick or whatever, and you can pass them out to everybody.
That's funny. Some years ago, my mother-in-law, she had all these photos, and she just decided, I don't want to keep this stuff anymore. And so this has been years ago, several years before the pandemic. My husband set her up with a scanner, and she took every photo album apart and boxes of photos and scanned every one of them. And now we have them on thumb drives, and they play. So like when we have Christmas or whatever, we've got the photos
that's
going.
awesome.
And we have them also on a little digital picture frame that she loves that's in the living room.
I have one of those, but I didn't think of putting all the old photos. I'm going to do that. I'm going to surprise the kids. They each have one in their house, a digital frame that we can each upload to. I'm going to surprise them and put them all on there. And a lot of times,
those digital frames come with email addresses. And so while you're out having your vacation or whatever, like say, for example, our nieces, they will take pictures and send those pictures to the frame. And she'll be walking by, and the picture will pop up, and look at the pictures. I love the picture frames.
And some of them you could even put videos.
I don't know about the video on that one, but yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, cool. Do you remember a few years ago when Kate, our photographer...
Yes, Kate Cherry, we love her so much.
Do you remember when she took pictures of me in my grandmother's wedding dress? I don't know if you remember those pictures.
Well, I knew about it, but I haven't seen the pictures,
So I have held on to that, and that is one of those emotional things, right? It's my grandmother's wedding dress from 1920.
You're not wearing her underwear, are you, Lorraine?
I do have some nightgowns of hers. See, these are things like I have to part with, but I knew that someday I would have to get rid of this dress, right? It's from 1922. I originally had wanted to put it in this big frame, found out what the cost was going to be to do that, like a shadow box. Thousands and thousands. I said, well, I can't do that. I said, you know what? I'm going to try it on, see if it fits me. And sure enough, it did. And so I had Kate take pictures of me in her wedding dress so that's how I could save that memory. I still have it, but I know it's going someday. It might even be when I make this move. I may put it in pieces.
You think you're moving, but you're not really. No. Well, you could also have something made out of it.
Yes. Which I did with my wedding dress. I took the bodice from my wedding dress, which was like an embroidered kind of thing, and I made a ring pillow for my daughters for their wedding.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
I love the pictures of you.
My son used it too. Yeah.
I love the pictures of you in that wedding dress. It's like 1970s disco glam, baby. So good. Yes. Well, that's a good idea, a very good idea. Now, have you asked your granddaughters if they might want to wear that dress when they get married?
No, I haven't. That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it will need some fixing.
Well, yeah, mine too. I have my wedding dress. Now, my wedding dress, timeless classic.
Well, not if you're talking about my wedding dress is gone. I cut it up.
Well, yeah, no, I'm talking about the one from the
1920s.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good idea.
Yeah,
good idea.
That's something to think about. I have my own wedding dress. Movie star classic chic there. And I had it cleaned and packed up in acid-free paper. And I'll keep it for a period of time. And then at that point, if no one else in the family wants it, and it does have to have some repair as well, because I partied so hard that night. I partied.
I think mine had red wine.
Italians. I partied like it was 1999 in that dress. But I do have my wedding dress, and that's one of those things where it's like, back in the day when I wore it, and then I had it cleaned and professionally packed and all that stuff, and then I'm just like, gosh, I haven't had it out of the box since it went in the box.
Yeah. I think so many people do that, right? They keep it.
And I've heard of people telling different stories about, I had mine dyed and I wore it to a different occasion and whatever. And I do have to to say, my wedding dress is pretty fantastic. But I don't know if I would ever, want to try to wear it to something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got off track. Okay, so that is a lot of emotional weight, especially a wedding dress from the 1920s that your great...
No, my grandmother.
Your grandmother wore. I thought you said great-grandmother.
Yeah, my grandmother.
Wow. So you knew her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah.
That would be even, in some ways, more difficult to
get rid of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still have it. So, but you're right. If maybe I could have it fixed, somebody might want to wear it.
You never know.
Yeah.
We'll have to, I'm going to have a look-see at those photographs there.
Maybe we'll include some on our YouTube.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. We'll look into that. But yeah, there is a huge emotional connection to stuff. And it can be for different reasons. Sometimes it's because you've spent money on those things. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to let those things go because you've spent money on them. Yeah. Or they were gifts. That's true for me. I mean, I've had a lot of gifts from people, and I'm just like, it's got to go, but I feel bad because someone gave it to me. Yeah. Like my mother-in-law one time came to the house, and we were actually moving, and she had given me this, and it's actually downstairs right now. She had given me this candle holder, and it's not really my style, right? Mm-hmm. And I had put it on a pile of stuff to donate, and she saw it there, took note of it, and said to me, well, maybe I'll take that back if you don't want it. I'll take it and I'll keep it. And I felt horrible about it. And so now it's downstairs on the shelf.
I know. This is part of the problem.
Right.
This is why it's so hard to let go. So we're hoping part of what this episode does is speak to the people who are those people who are giving. Now, we talked about this.
Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Reverse robbery.
What happened to me today? Lorraine. Trying to give me all your shoes.
Right. Reverse robbery is giving your stuff. It works two ways. There's a positive and a negative. The positive is giving valuable things that maybe somebody does want, and you're giving them intentionally to someone, right? But then there's the other. Although today it wasn't with intention because they were nice.
First of all, they are nice shoes. Yes. And I do, I do. I love shoes.
I know that you love shoes.
I do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, okay, and I really thought you took my size. I'm so sorry.
No, she's not really sorry.
I am. But anyway, so I have to leave with them again today. But the reverse robbery where people are just saying, okay, I want you to keep this and you're going to keep it in your attic. Like kids do that to parents. Parents do that to kids. So that's the stuff you don't want, and somebody's just dropping it off at your house, and you feel that guilt, and you just can't get rid of it. And so now you have the emotional baggage of, what do I do with this?
Right.
And then, unfortunately, you sometimes put that on the next person.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I remember my sister, so I have lots of things from my grandparents. I still do, but they're going to be going. I'm committed to it because I have such wonderful memories of my grandparents. That's what I have. I don't need their stuff. But I remember asking one of my sisters, you know who you are. I don't really want this. Do you want it? No, but keep it in your attic. Me. No, don't get rid of it. You keep it. We don't want to get rid of it. And so then I have the guilt. Okay, I don't want to get rid of this because it was my grandparents. But now I am going to ask my two sisters, do you want any of this? And if they don't, it's going.
Vaya con Dios.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I support you in that. And you can sweeten the pot a little by saying when you have your beach house, they can come and visit. Yes. Because you've got room for them.
Right.
Because you don't have to tote all that stuff.
I am so looking forward to just having a place where the whole family can come, where it's not full
you left
of
somebody
clutter.
Out. You left me out.
And friends. But you are family.
Well, you heard it here.
Sister.
Oh, you heard it here. Yes. I'm going to have my own room at Lorraine's.
I told you. Anytime. We can podcast from there.
Ooh.
It's not far, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
So like we said, you want to just handle sentimental items, like doing that small memory box, photographing things and then letting them go, from pictures to maybe things that your kids made. And I recently saw a woman on Instagram that creates art pieces from your kids' art. So you send her all like the things that you love that they made, and she makes like a collage and makes a beautiful art piece that you can hang one picture on the wall with made of things that they have put together, which
Very
I loved.
cool.
I thought that was a cool thing.
And that's like those bears. You can have stuffed animals made from, say, for example, shirts. If your father
Or
has
quilts,
passed
yeah.
away, quilts. Yes.
Like T-shirt quilts, those are cool. Like places you've been, but you don't want to save those T-shirts anymore. But you can make a quilt out of it,
That's
like
right.
a memory quilt. Those are cool things. And then give it to somebody that they have to keep it in their attic for the rest of their life.
We know which sister it is, don't we, Lorraine? It's coming your way.
But, and like we said, pass things along intentionally, right? Like, for instance, one of my granddaughters shares the same birth month as I do. So she has the same birthstone. So I have a few things with that birthstone, and she's the only one of all the grandchildren born that month. So she will be getting those things if she wants them, but they're beautiful pieces of jewelry. I already gave her one that I received when I was her age. And so I gave that to her for her last birthday. It was like a little emerald ring.
Nice.
So, and I have a few other pieces. So I know that that's going to Eloise. And so,
Very nice.
so if you do things intentionally, things that you're not using anymore, I mean, we've accumulated so many things over the years, and I would rather they enjoy them and I see them enjoy them now.
I support that, and that's why you see various and sundry little piles here and there, because I am trying to move this stuff out and get it gone, because I do not want to be weighed down by all these things. How can I go off on a fun little jaunt with you to your beach house if I have to worry about dusting my piles of
Right.
junk?
And this is a good segue into this. The reality, if we don't do this, okay, for the people that are left behind. Okay, so what often happens is families inherit entire homes of belongings, and you'll see that in some of those episodes. So much stuff, and they're overwhelmed by the decisions. So you've now passed this on to your loved one, and you've created anxiety, angst, everything in their life. Okay, this is the one. They took this one guy to the landfill. He couldn't make a decision about getting rid of stuff, and so they took him to a landfill full of shit
Right.
and junk, and told him, just so you know, this is most likely where all of this will go if you don't take care of it now. Once you're gone, this is where most of it will go. So if you have an intention of certain things going to certain people, or possibly you might not even know the person it's going to, but like this one woman had these musical instruments, so many of them that she couldn't possibly play all of them. And she found a charity that fixes them and gives them to children that can't afford them. So you can find opportunities for your valuable things that nobody else wants for somebody else to appreciate them. Whether it's a charity, you can make a donation.
Yeah, there are, if you have enough time and you can plan, there are things, collections that you can make a decision about yourself, and that way you control it, but you
Right.
have to do that now. And there's also a TV show called My Strange Inheritance, and I was watching it a lot during the pandemic, and I haven't really seen any episodes of it recently, but it talked about situations kind of like this where people collected things. Like one guy had a whole room full of toy soldiers, and they turned out to be quite valuable and rare, and I think they were able to find a museum that was willing to take the whole collection and display them. And then another woman, she was a flight attendant, and she would go to these different locations, and she collected beads, and some of her beads were auctioned off for huge value.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's all these just different kinds of stories out there about people who collected these kinds of things. And there's a bunch of people on Instagram, one guy in particular, he talks about all of these hoards, and there are houses full. People inherit, like one story he was telling is these two sisters, they inherited like 4 RVs. And the reason their parents had 4 RVs is because successively one would break down, and they would keep the one that was broken down for parts and then buy a new one. And they had a home full, just packed full of like costume jewelry and train sets and all kinds of things. And
That nobody's using.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there. Yeah.
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 And it's it's something to see.
Yeah.
It really is. I was going to
Yeah.
try to see if I could find the Instagram account, but that would take a minute to look. But yeah, this is a huge thing and there are so many different aspects of it.
So maybe we should talk about how to get started,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
So simple steps. One of the things is to get rid of big things first. Like if you have furniture and things like that you no longer want and nobody wants it, you can donate it. You could try to sell it, right? Habitat will take quite a few things. You have to check their website to see exactly what kind of things that take. So start with like big things that you really have no use for anymore. You never liked it. It's taking up space. Clothing. These are things to get started with. Clothing, kitchen items, duplicate household items. Like how many spatulas do you need? How many, I don't know, even lamps. How many lamps do you need? How many
Pots and pans, all that stuff. Yes.
Go through all of that. Books. That's where I started. My daughter came over the other day, and I had so many cookbooks. I rarely open a cookbook. I have a couple that I use, but most of it I go to Google. Right, I'm looking up recipes. But I had a few that were gluten free, and both of my daughters have celiac. So I said, before I get rid of these, do you want any? So she looked at them. There was like 8 of them. She took one, and I said, but I also have these other boxes of regular cookbooks. Do you want them? She said. She looked through them quick. She said no. She said, but there is a place near us that takes book donations to give to people that, maybe they, instead of purchasing books, they can just come and look at these books. So I'm like, take them. So she took all the box of books with her, and I was like, all right, I got rid of all of those, So if you have a lot of cookbooks and you're not using them, just donate them. And so many other books.
I have already gone through my books. That's why that one bookcase is in the hall. Those are all the books I have now. Except for a few other little books here and there. Don't look at those. Right there. Those are more for work.
Yeah.
But like personal books that I want to keep is down to what's on that bookshelf.
Good girl.
I know. Yay!
I'm working towards that. I have so many books.
Oh,
I've
I
got
love books.
I've got my grandparents' books, and they're in a box in the garage because I had planned on donating them, and they've been there for 3 years. And my husband keeps asking me, "Are you taking them? Are you taking them?" I'm like, I will. But it's that
hard.
emotional thing, because these were books that they had on their shelves in their house that I always saw there. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm going to do it. So that's a good way to start. Save the emotional categories for last, because once you get sucked in,
that's it.
You're not moving on.
Yeah.
So like letters, photos, and all of that kind of stuff, all the keepsakes, just do that last, because once you get in there, it's like, I'm looking at this, and you'll never move on. So just do the big stuff first. Clothes are probably one of the easiest,
Ooh,
to go
not
through.
for me.
No.
Ooh, I love clothes.
Yeah.
But I'm being good. I'm being good about it. Yeah, I am. I have actually just last week took a bag to Goodwill to donate clothes.
Oh, good. And it's not a marathon.
No.
Okay. So the tips are, do it gradually. Set small goals and think of it as creating space, not losing things. We want like a positive spin on this, right? We want it to be like you're creating space for your life so that you can live your life more fully.
And I just don't want to have to clean it anymore.
Right. And move it and here and there. And And midlife is the natural time for reflection and change. So this is the perfect time, right? The benefits of simplifying and getting rid of all this stuff is more freedom, less stress, easier transitions later, right? Maybe, you know what? And this was in one of the episodes. There was a woman who was diagnosed with 4th stage metastatic lung cancer. Oof. And so she knew her time was limited, and her house was full of stuff, and she wanted to create beautiful spaces for herself, because she knew at some point, she was still doing well at the time that they filmed it. She was still doing well, but she knew she'd be getting ill, and she wanted to create comfortable spaces where people could come and visit her, and that she would look around and feel comforted and feel joy in her spaces. And so they helped her create that. And so taking the time now, especially if you're elderly, you may be listening to this, maybe you're in your late 70s, even 80s. The woman that wrote the book was in her 80s, I think, when she wrote the book. So that you don't get to the point where you're not capable anymore of doing it. So take the time now so that it's done the way you want it to be done, and you're creating a space that you'll be comfortable to be in possibly in your final years, and we can just say it. I mean, we're all going to die someday. So we want that comforting space around us.
What's going to happen to all my finger puppets, Lorraine?
I think that you have to do a puppet show and put it on and record it.
I'm going to do it.
Yes.
I'm going to do it.
Yes. And maybe you could have them close by and just stick them on your toes.
Oh, it could wreck my pedicure.
Toe puppets. So we want more focus again on having experiences rather than possessions, living a more full midlife and beyond.
Right.
Yeah. I wanted to read, so at the end of my article that I wrote, I had my reflections. I have discovered a number of things sorting through these sentimental containers. First, photographs, drawings, and personally written items can be the most treasured of all and are easily scanned and stored on a flash drive or cloud and shared with your loved ones. Secondly, you'll save a ton of money on your next move with so many fewer boxes to lug from house to house, and when the time comes, your family and friends are not left with the awful task of sorting through and disposing of your things. Thirdly, sometimes those sentimental objects may bring back some not so happy or positive memories and could keep us living in the past. And finally, my true treasures are those memories that are stored in my heart and mind and not in an inanimate object.
That could make me cry. I don't know. I still love my finger puppets.
As I stand in my recently vacated nostalgia-barren attic, I actually really feel good. I definitely feel lighter. My mind feels uncluttered. There's no guilt or anxiety swirling around in there. As I stand in this space and glance around, I realize now there's plenty of room for all the grandkids stuff. Look out, Lily and Vernon, here I come.
I'm going to need some fresh drawer boxes. That's good stuff right there. I tell you what, when you proposed this episode, I was like, well, I don't know how I'm going to feel about doing it, especially right now.
I know.
Really.
It's raw.
Truly.
It's new. It's fresh. I know.
It's not fresh. It smells like cabbage. If you've ever, Dad's house always smelled like pickled cabbage. For some reason, I don't know.
But especially now, this is an important episode because you are living what we're trying to avoid.
To prevent, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What we're trying to prevent.
Mm-hmm. And if it weren't for my sister cleaning his house out some years back, it would have been even worse.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I cannot stress enough how important it is to think about these things now, if you can, and try to just try.
Yeah.
Just try.
It's important. It'll be emotional. You will have guilt, but then ultimately I think you'll feel relieved when you really get those things where they need to go. You'll feel so good in your space. I mean, I still have more to do, but when I did that all those years ago, it was so freeing. It really was. And like, I got to enjoy that time with my daughters, laugh, cry, whatever, looking through their stuff. But ultimately, it was their decision on what was being kept, not mine. And that relieves so much guilt from me because, like I said, carrying it around all for 20 years, house to house. And wow, I didn't need to do that, but now I don't have to put it in a scrapbook, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What a great episode. Thank you for encouraging me to do this, especially now. You, of all people, know how difficult this time has been for me.
Yes.
So this is a very timely episode, and as usual, all the good things that come around out of the podcasting and the content that we create, it starts with you. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Oh, you're a sweetheart.
I got you. And I hope that we've inspired you out there to take the steps now to do your own Swedish death cleaning. Mm-hmm. Again, look at it as a positive because you will experience more life.
All right. Well, I don't think you can say any more than that. And, thank you all so much for listening and supporting us and for just coming along on this journey. And we've got more fun, exciting stuff coming. And we're going to make sure you have all of the resources, including a link to Lorraine's fantastic article. I did read it actually some years back.
Yeah. If I don't know if it's published anywhere right now, but if I can find it, yeah.
You know what?
We might even do a download.
We have a fabulous website.
Yes, we can put it on there.
That's right.
Yes.
So we will sort that out for you. And
because it also has tips on how to talk to your kids about.
Ooh.
Yeah. How to talk to your kids about this stuff. So, yeah.
That's a big one right there,
Yeah.
too. Well, again, thank you so much for listening and for supporting us. Also, you're going to want to stay tuned because we've got more information coming about retreats coming up in the future here. Speaking of having experiences rather than things.
Yes. Yes.
Those are going to be fantastic experiences.
So get rid of that storage unit and join us on a retreat.
That's right. That's exactly
for
right.
sure.
Because I've been on a retreat with you before, and yeah, it's so worth it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
worth it.
I can't
So
wait.
Come along and join us.
Yes.
All right. Thanks so much for listening. And stay tuned for more fun episodes and information and all kinds of things coming up.
Yeah.
And until then, we'll see you in the next one. Mwah. Bye-bye. You all know we love sharing things that actually support women in this incredible stage of life. And we recently had Atessa Bradley, the founder of Standing Tall Foods, on the podcast. And we love what she and the brand stands for. Plus, we have tried the product and can vouch for the fact that it is delicious.
Right. And Standing Tall makes seasoned roasted soybeans crafted specifically for women in midlife. There are 3 delicious flavors: sea salt, chili lime, and salt and pepper. Each dry roasted to crunchy perfection. Unlike others, Standing Tall soybeans are premium, non-GMO, and sourced in North America only. And guess what? The nutrition is no joke. Each serving has 12 grams of high-quality protein, 2 grams of fiber, no sugar, and no cholesterol. Soy actually has twice the protein and half the fat of almonds.
We love that. But what we love most is the mission. Standing Tall exists to lift women up in midlife because we deserve real solutions, real nutrition, and real support.
Soy consumption is clinically linked to bone and muscle strength, heart health, fewer hot flashes, and improved skin elasticity. Soy is incredibly good for us. Standing Tall wants to make it easy for us to take charge of our health so we can live long, vibrant, and strong lives. If you want to try it, use our exclusive code, Girlish Gurus Get 15 for 15% off your first order.
We think you're going to love it.
For sure.
All right. All right. Well, maybe I scooted it back too far. Oh, there we go. That's better. Every time you got to zhuzh it and readjust it. I just want our heads to be the same size.
Am I like shrunken in my chair?
No, you're okay. You're good.
Okay.
My head's just bigger than yours. Okay.
And I'm very short-waisted, so I sit down.
I'm short-waisted too.
Yeah, I disappear when I sit down.
No, you're centered correctly. Your head looks the right size. Mine looks slightly bigger. I'm afraid to push it too much further
It's
back.
all those brains.
Wait, whatever. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Instead of, did I say that right? Purposefully?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me start over again. So instead of, I forgot what I said. Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. Menopause.
Well.
Okay. So you're purposefully giving them things. What was I talking about?
Instead of purposefully giving.
Oh my gosh. Totally lost it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm so tired.
Just take that part out.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for listening to this episode of Girlish Gurus. We hope you'll join us next time for more fun and inspiration. Be sure to check the description of this episode for links and information about the topic, and you can find us on our social media platforms starting with Instagram, Facebook, and now including YouTube. You can find us by searching Girlish Gurus, and you can also check out our website, girlishgurus.com, for more information on us, our projects, books, and our growing community.
And don't forget to download this episode, give it a good review, and share it with your girlfriends. We would also love to hear from you in the comments because the more interaction we get, the more episodes we can post. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.